When people see you on the street, I know they know who you are, but there's some people who don't know say, when are you going to fight Manny Pacquiao?
Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather?
A little bit. I can't fight like him, though. I wish I had his money, though.
Have you ever gotten in a fight?
Oh, man, yeah, I've lost a couple, George, honestly. You know, I have no problem with being honest. People, my record isn't that good on the streets. My only 2 fights were with family, though. My cousin Kimberly, she beat me bad. Kimberly beat me bad. Kimberly was a bad one. I never should have went in there. My family hyped me up to do it. They was like, Kev, don't let her talk to you like that. You need to go hit her. And I was like, but you think, like, she's bigger. They was like, don't matter, man. Hit her. And I was like, well, if I miss, are y'all gonna help me? They was like, yeah, go. I went downstairs. I didn't see nobody behind me. I was by myself. My cousin Kimberly grabbed my arm, slung me all over the floor. You know, the worst part about losing a fight is when you lose your shoe. Because then you gotta go find your shoe. That's the worst part. I don't like that part. I don't like that part at all.
All right, you were at probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Okay.
And people that know, I want to ask you, everybody take a look at this video, and we're going to ask you to kind of narrate what was happening. Take a look at this video. Oh, my God.
Okay. First of all, I know it looks bad with me running into the camera. Okay. Let me explain to y'all what's going on. All right. It was Puffy's party. All right. Puff had a party. He's called me, said, Kev, can you host a party with me? I said, yeah, dude. I said, I'll do it. I said, I'm in New York. So he said, look, we creating this little sexy scene in the bathroom. It's gonna be girls in the tub. You, Trey Songz, Fabulous. Like, it's nice. It's just gonna look like it's the place to be. We're gonna Ustream it. I said, oh, that's gonna be hot. So we get up there. I'm hosting. You know, first of all, I'm a sex symbol. Okay. So I'm up there and I'm hosting, you know, I'm promoting the party. I'm like, yeah, man, this is a nice event. You see, we up here in the tub. I hear Trey Songz behind me. First of all, if somebody hair is on fire, it's a panic. Like, it's a yell, yo, your hair. It should be crazy. You would have thought Trey was singing. This is all I heard. I heard, yo, your hair's on fire. It was like an album, like it was one of his tracks. Like, yo, your hair's on fire. I turned around, I saw it, I was like, oh! Because, like, literally, like the flame, like George, the flame grew. Like it was like somebody threw gasoline on it. Like, so when I saw it, I was like, ow! But, so my first instinct was to save myself. Because, you know, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, I don't want to die. You know, I don't know if you guys know, weaves are the most flammable thing out. Okay? A weave, if there would have been another girl next to her with a weave, that thing would have caught faster than the forest fire. So I just said, let me save myself. Now, to camera, I run. I'm like, did you get that on tape? Only reason why I said that is because I didn't really get to see the whole thing. So I wanted to see it over again for my selfish reasons.
All right, let's take a look at it one more time, everybody. Let's see it again. In slow motion. That might be funny and slower. So, I think it's safe to say you were probably raised very, very tough, right?
Yeah.
Tough
from
family.
The streets.
Yeah, from the street. What can you pass along to your kids that they would understand?
Well, you know what, George? It's funny you say that because I've been having a hard time with figuring out the type of life lessons, you know, that I'm trying to hand my kids. You know, basically, as a father, you want to teach your kids certain things. But I look back at my life, George. You know, I don't have a lot to teach. No, like, here's the one thing. Like, okay, my daughter, and this is me being very honest, you guys. My daughter's a little princess, beautiful. She's spoiled. So, you know, I'm one way with her, but with my son, I'm like, I live in LA. I'm in the valley. You know, my son ain't around tough kids. My main thing is teaching my son how to fight.
And now, how old is he?
My son's 3. Okay. Now, look. You don't see what goes on in these daycares. All right, these little kids are crazy. all right? I caught a little boy putting paste in my son's mouth. That's when I had enough. I said, I'm gonna teach my son how to defend himself. Now, the only problem I'm having, my son thinks he's Spider-Man, George, for real. Like, listen, I'm not joking. Like when we play, he wet me. He like listen. But because I'm dad, because I'm his dad, when he does it, I gotta act like I'm caught. I'm like, oh no, let me out. So, but it's us playing. Let me tell you why this is bad. I'm not joking. So I go to pick him up from school, right? This little boy is hitting my son in the head with a truck, right? My son on the floor doing this. He trying to wet me. I yelled, I got so mad. I said, boy, get your ass up. You're not Spider-Man, man. You're not Spider-Man. He tried to get me while I was talking, but I had to play. I was like, okay, let me out, let dad out. Y'all laughing, I'm being so serious, man. My household, son is in trouble if I don't save him. He really thinks he's Spider-Man, George.
Oh,
Don't judge my son, okay? Don't judge my son. I have my son. I had my son come here and web this whole audience right now. My son will web all y'all. Y'all better act like y'all caught in the net.
Is your daughter a good student?
Oh, man, you know what's funny? My daughter is actually a great student, but I didn't understand how good of a student she was. Like, I'm from Philadelphia, you guys. City where it go down at. I don't know. All right, so listen. So I don't know what that was. I saw it in the video. So my daughter's first report card, she gets a report card. So I'm like, baby, how'd you do your report card? So she's like, look, Dad, I got all E's and G's. So, I'm from a school of A's, B's, and C's. D's are bad, F's are bad. So in my mind, I'm like, you got worse than an F? Like, you got an E? I get 5. I said, how dumb is my baby to get an E? I was going off. And she was like, no. Like, her mom told me it was excellent and good. But that just made me even more angry because I'm like, who gave y'all the audacity in California to change these things? Okay? No. For years, it was A's, B's, and C's. E's and G's, don't nobody do that. For that, I almost punched my daughter in the forehead. But I had to stop. No, I'm serious. Only reason I didn't do it because my son was like, and he stopped me. So I couldn't. I was ready to punch. My son stopped me.
Oh my God. Tell me about becoming the spokesperson for Ford.
Oh man, right now I'm doing a ad campaign with Ford. They wanted me to be spokesperson of the new vehicle, which is an SUV. Which I at first I thought they were trying to play with me, George, because I'm small. Okay, No, I'm serious. Like, you got little cars that I can promote. Give me something that I can get out of cool. I'm jumping out this daggone truck. I'm serious, George. I fell twice in the commercial. I fell 2 times. Shooting a commercial, when we're doing a shot, I'm supposed to jump out the truck and say, hey, we're here. Well, George, I missed my foot because my balance wasn't good. But regardless, it's an opportunity, to do something nice, man. It's a good commercial ad, good campaign. So Ford is doing big things right now. I'm happy to be a part of it,
Good,
George.
Man. You are hilarious. I know you from back in the day. I got you something for the next party, man, in case it gets out of control. I blinged out. Kevin Hart, go to LopezTonight.com to find out where Kevin is performing. He's performing near you. Kevin Hart, everybody. K Hart.
Hey, that's weird, George. Did you see that? That's so strange. It's raining. That's something you almost never see here.
The wonderful thing about New York is when it rains, it's a city that makes its own gravy.
That's true. That's very true. It does do that. Yum, yum. Hey, listen. Tomorrow, Regis returns.
No!
Yes!
I want to stay.
The audience, they love you, George. They went, oh. No.
2 people.
Rebecca Romaine Stamos will be here.
That's right, she will be here.
Janice Dickinson, the world's first supermodel, will be here.
Also, the latest Survivor All-Star to get kicked off the island, Alicia Calloway will be here.
They got rid of Alicia? I missed it on Thursday. Oh,
She's
that's
out.
too bad.
But she'll be here. All the people who get thrown off of these shows end up here.
They do. They come here.
It's a great place it's a warming hut for the career.
It's where careers come to die. Just kidding. Now listen, she went from singling people out on MTV to the Hollywood big screen when she made you scream. Now she's venturing into motherhood. Please welcome the beautiful, the very funny Jenny McCarthy. You're so hot.
Me?
You're hot.
You're hotter. In fact, before we start talking about myself, I would just like to tell everybody that I worked with Kelly on Hope and Faith, which we'll talk about later, and she is just as nice off camera as she is on.
That's
Truly. Because
that's a lie.
it's so true, because, you know, most people are evil, and you are really nice. In fact, I got you a little something.
Oh, no.
To take care of a little problem that you might have, but I just wanted to get you something to dress up your little finger.
Oh, no, the elephant finger. She makes fun because I have a finger that I constantly pick and pick and pick, and I've picked the nail off to the point where it's deformed now.
So now
I have a tryst for my elephant finger.
I had that made especially.
And now the audience is curious now. They want to see it. No, you can't see it.
Well, if you show them yours, I'll show you mine next to it. And
No,
mine's pretty bad.
That's not.
Mine looks like a big toe.
They look the same, man.
We had a lot of fun working together because all we did was focus on our various deformities.
Yes, that's true.
Which, when dressed up nicely, you would never know.
Like my C-section scar is worse than your C-section scar.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, that was our...
That's what we did. We compared things like that.
Now, I got to tell you, I was looking at your book. It is so hilarious.
Thank you.
Now, I've never delivered a child, but I was in the room with my wife, so all of that is fantastic.
Yeah, now did your wife read it? And did she, because I'm like sitting here reading it and I'm reading it and I'm going, ew, that's disgusting and so true.
I definitely wanted to tell the truth. I didn't think there was anything out there that was also funny and raw.
Right.
And I just was like, you know, I want to help out some preggers and make them laugh. So,
Right.
if you know anybody that's pregnant, get this book for them.
Well, because
I guarantee.
I wish I had it when I was pregnant, because a lot of the stuff that happens to your body, you're too ashamed to even ask your doctor who is responsible for your care.
Right.
Because you think that it's only happening to you, so you keep it to yourself. I'm like, this can't be a good sign.
No.
I think I won't bring it up at my next visit.
That's so true.
It's so true, because I'm like too ashamed.
Yeah.
So because I'm on TV and I don't want the word to get out, so I go, I'm not going to mention this at all. and maybe she won't notice it either.
There's so many things that people don't talk about that actually happens to your body that leave it to me. I have to put it in a book.
Right.
But it was embarrassing, but true, and I love to remember.
Now, here's the big question. How much weight did you gain during the pregnancy?
Okay, let me tell you this.
It's in the book.
The only woman I've ever met who gained more weight than me delivering one baby. It's really true.
I was pushing, when I checked in the hospital, about 204.
Right.
I ate everything. I loved it.
204. And I was a mere flyweight at 197. So it's like, but then again, I say this. You are taller than me, so therefore I still say, theoretically, I gained more weight than you.
Not.
But listen, we're going to talk more.
HBO's on the phone. They want you guys to battle it out.
Let's have Corey Steady when we come back. Don't go away. I love you.
Still ahead on Live, a
Jenny, you brought the sun to New York. Just kidding.
Lights?
Now let's talk about the fact that after you went through everything you talk about in the book, a baby was born.
Yes.
And he is stunning.
I love him more than anything in the world.
Jenny's son Evan is 2 years old.
He's so beautiful, and it's amazing when you have a baby, at least for me, my whole drive has changed, like in my career. It's like, I'm not looking for a trophy. I will do anything for his future. You might see me doing a tampon commercial, for Christ's sake. If it's gonna pay for school, I'm doing it. No. Are you not feeling frustrated? Because I ain't. So I mean, I will do anything for this kid.
Hello, 3 jobs. I mean, I think we'll work for diapers.
Yeah, I know. Book coming out, book 2.
Now, you're on Hope and Faith this Friday night. And thank God we followed George. You know, well, we don't follow George, but
You
are
lead us
the big,
in with like a champion.
You are like you're the hammer. You drive us home, which is so great.
This episode is so crazy. Can I tell a little bit of it?
Yeah, please.
I plays Kelly's best friend. Best friend?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Best friend from school.
Best friend from school, and I come in, I wind up accidentally sleeping with her father. Played by Robert Wagner.
Robert Wagner. And so I decide I'm going to get even with Jenny and sleep with her father.
Played by Tony Curtis.
That's right. Now, Tony and Robert have been friends in Hollywood for 50 years.
Yeah.
They've never worked together until our show. So we had, you know, it was really just amazing seeing these two like Hollywood legends in front of us. And then like the two of us like
Hi.
Hi.
We used to watch you on Heart to Heart.
Yeah, I know.
And now I'm sucking your fingers on this episode. Yeah.
It was that bad. We were talking to Rob RJ. He told us to call him RJ. And we were talking about how when we would watch Heart to Heart and he would do a shower scene, we would actually go to the front of the TV and try to peer down the front of the TV to see if we could see him naked.
Which he kind of blushed, I think.
He did. He blushed and then he called his agent.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
But in the clip now is my Hollywood legend.
That's right.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, kind of.
Kind of. You'll see. Definitely in this clip, this sets up.
Take a look at Jenny. It's a really funny show. It's this Friday, April 30th, and you can pick up Jenny's book, Belly Laugh, out May 1st. Thank you so much for being here. I love you.
Yeah, thank you.
We've got Jennifer Hudson from American Idol coming up next. Don't go away.
Tomorrow on Live at...
Now listen, this is what you call a real Latina woman. Curves and beauty. Hey, and hoop earrings. Remind me to jump through those after the show.
Okay, perfect.
Those are beautiful. So somebody found you
Nobody found me.
on the beach. They found you on the beach. You were laying there with your mom.
Laying there with my G-string, you know, like all Latin girls.
You know, if this was another interview, they would say you were discovered. I'm Latino. Where did they find you? But a guy was on the beach and he saw you.
I was young and innocent. I was 17. And they wanted me to do a TV commercial for a Coke. It was for Pepsi, and it became huge in Latin America. And after that, I started getting, like, you know, a lot of job offers. But I was in a Catholic school, a non-school, and they wouldn't let me do anything.
Really? But don't go anywhere. We have the tape of that commercial. I could only show the highlights. Check this out. This is the highlights.
Cuando calienta el sol con una Pepsi bien helada. A toda costa.
I was brand new at that point. Brand new.
And that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Would you ever think about...
No, that was more than, 20 years ago.
Would you ever think of what would have happened? No, but 20 years goes by like that. Would you ever think of what happened if you didn't go to the beach that day?
I would have been a dentist, married, in Barranquilla, Colombia.
Huh? You wanted to be a dentist?
I went to dentist school. I went to the university. I had like 2 more years to go to finish. Yeah.
If you would have been a dentist, there would have been dudes kicking each other in the mouth.
I was not gonna need anesthesia, right?
No, they would just do a root canal with no medicine, just... Wow.
But I didn't finish. You know, I started to get opportunities for work, and then, you know, you wake up every day and you have to think, okay, do I go make money or do I go to class? And
Money, huh? So when you went to like Univision or the casting agents would see, what would they tell you?
When I started auditioning in LA, they were like, yeah, she sounds like Latin, she moves like Latin, she, everything, the body is like Latin, but she's blonde.
Yeah.
And it's like they didn't understand. As soon as I put the hair black, oh yeah, now she's so hot and Latin. And so,
And what did they want you to change specifically? What did they think that you...
The hair, I think they didn't understand that they're blonde Latin women.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Naturally.
You didn't, naturally. You didn't have that problem because you look more Mexican than a taco, that's for sure. You didn't have that problem when you came, did you?
That's hilarious. That's gacho. It's gacho and hilarious. That's the double whammy. That's gacho. Where did they find you? At King Taco? But
they didn't find you in the beach with the G-string, no.
No, they didn't find me. If I'm wearing a G-string, it's gonna be like a Z-string. Ya todo wango, all the elastic worn out. It's not even a G-string, it's just underwear that made a wedgie, I'll need a dental pick to get it out. But did they ask you to? I mean, they always think that because we're curvy that's
You're
wrong.
Curvy
yeah,
too?
I'm curvy too.
Okay.
They wanted me to lose weight because and the breast reduction. They wanted me to get a. Did they think that you should have got a breast reduction?
Yeah, they thought that I was. Because they think I was too much and that they were not gonna take me serious.
I was too much.
Yeah, but I never wanted to be taken serious. I wanted to do comedy.
Right.
Yeah, so I said, you know what? If they want me they were gonna want me. But if they're gonna give me jobs like this, I'm gonna
go
stay
like that.
this.
Yes. But your mom, and what would your mom say? I don't think we don't have breast reductions, Latinos, do we?
My mom is like, God is gonna punish you if you take your tits off.
We'll be back with Sofia Vergara, so keep your asses on the couch.
Sometimes you can forget tiny details, like, is it possible maybe you were driving too fast?
Who said I was driving fast?
Yeah, who?
I'm looking at the street, and I'm thinking if you were driving a little fast, it's possible that maybe you didn't see the car
You like everyone else, huh? You blame the Latino driver. Where I come from, they always blame the Latino driver.
Where you come from, isn't everybody a Latino driver?
Back with Sofia Vergara. Hey, congratulations on getting picked up. Modern Family got picked up for a second season.
Yeah, I'm so happy. It's a dream job for me. Fantastic.
Great actors, great show. And I was telling you in the break that I love that when I saw the pilot that all the characters are great, but that I didn't realize until the end that they were all in the same family.
In the same family, yeah. But they all have their own thing going on, and then they always, at the end, something happens that brings them together.
Right, right. So congratulations on the Golden Globe and the SAG Award nominations.
Yeah,
for a show that's right off the bat, strong.
Yes. Very lucky to be having so much fun at work, because you know how it is, it's long hours, but when you're working with people that you're having fun and you're having fun, I think that's why everybody's loving the show.
Yes, and does it air in Colombia?
It's about to air in Colombia. It airs in the UK, but you know what? In Colombia, they're having problems now because they translate the whole show in Spanish. And they have somebody that does my voice. And they're like, but we know that's not you. That doesn't sound like you. They're complaining. But it's funny because when I used to see Married with Children, that Al Bundy was in the show, Ed O'Neill, I thought he had this voice like Antonio Banderas. Like sexy. Because that's all I knew. It was always translated by a guy that sounded like Antonio Banderas. And then when I met him, I'm like, I know you know Spanish. I've heard you many times before, but no.
They did my sitcom in Spanish, and I thought that they were better actors than we were.
Really?
It was better. The guy had more flavor.
Yeah.
More flavor. So In Univision, you hosted a game show that people did things for money.
Yeah.
And what was it called?
A que no te atreves.
A que no te atreves.
Sí.
Was it after? And what was the concept of the show?
Nothing. We would dare people to do stuff for money, and usually it wasn't for a lot of money. They just wanted, to be on TV and have their, 15 minutes of fame and have fun.
What kind of stuff would they do? Like?
Oh, I mean, one guy jumped naked from a helicopter, from a airplane. One, we did like a big box of cockroaches.
Yeah.
And he was laying there like crazy. We did crazy
Stuff like
things.
that.
Yeah. One time I laid in a bed of snakes.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
Vamos. We're gonna play our version, Whip It Out. Will you help me play Whip It Out? Will you stick around? Okay. We'll be playing Whip It Out with Sophia, so don't go nowhere. Hey.
Rory 8 to 10 on QTV.
All right, you guys have to make Sofia Vergara say whip it out. How about you? Stand up, fool.
Bueno, papi, I'm gonna give you $100 if you drink a shot of habanero hot sauce.
200.
200, yeah. 300 while you're at it.
A ver.
$300.
Stand right here, Miguel.
Pa' adentro, pa'
You
adentro.
could blow.
300.
Go ahead. Okay. All done. Okay. There it is.
There we go.
Congratulations. Let's stand over here. You might need a pound of ice cream to ease the pain later.
That's gonna
Hello.
grow hair in his chest.
What's your name? Stand up. What's your name?
Shaylee.
Shaylee? All right.
Shelly, we're gonna give you $100 if you let George write something in your face with a Sharpie. What do you think?
That's easy. I can do that. That's no problem.
You see, so you pay us, then the $100.
Okay. Say whip it out.
Whip it out.
Whip it out!
Dale. It says, Tiger, call me.
Aquí están los
Stand up, Doctor.
Okay.
Stand up.
This one
All
looks like
three of
she
you
would
stand
do
up.
anything. Wait, we're too hot.
Are you
That's
Colombian?
why I knew it.
All right, you got a sister here.
See? Okay, $100.
Okay, what am I doing?
If you take your bra.
My bra?
Yes.
200.
200.
Wait a minute. But all women can take their bra off. What's that?
Come on,
I
not
have two shirts on and one's tucked in.
Is there a time limit?
She's already doing it.
Is there a time?
15 seconds. It's off.
Let me see. Is it still warm? Okay. One for each. You're good. Hey, last week we shaved somebody's eyebrows off, so let's do that again.
No, that's mean. I have a better idea.
What?
How about you let me shave your goatee? What do you think?
You shave my goatee?
Yeah?
I don't know. How much you give me to shave this off?
Listen, my friends at Big Razor said they would donate $50,000 to your Haiti Relief Fund if you let me shave it right now.
Whip it out.
$50,000. Let's do it.
Okay.
You take this. Wait, we have to do this the elegant way.
You ready?
You're not gonna sue me or anything
I'm not.
if something
Go
happens.
easy.
It's a little blood.
Right there in front.
I think I took a little bit out of the lip, but it doesn't matter.
Our next guest plays a real witch on TV, but in real life she couldn't be sweeter or more charming. From the hit show Charmed, please welcome Holly Marie Combs.
At the moment.
It looks great.
Thank you.
You know, it looks like a guy that just loves football and kicking. You know, just guy like, hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, I know, I got one of those.
Look at that. You are still so little with just a little bump.
Yeah, it's fun. It's going well.
You know, is she not the most attractive 7-month pregnant person you have ever seen? I mean, that's nothing.
Nothing.
That's like when you go to a buffet in Vegas.
That's it.
That's it. No money to pay you. I'm sorry.
Oh my God, that's really nothing.
Now I want to know, before we get to the baby, I want to know, on Valentine's Day you did something very special.
I did.
Come on.
I found a husband. And obviously we had a really busy wedding night, and this just popped
like
up.
That.
Oh my goodness! And
now,
there
Holly,
it
when
is.
was that? When was that?
That was Valentine's Day.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Well, yeah, we had kind of a deadline, so we decided to do it real quick.
So where did you get married?
We got married at the San Ysidro Ranch in Santa Barbara. Yes, I pulled a Gwyneth, I know. It wasn't really original, but it was quick.
And painless.
And painless, yes.
Well, he looks rather gorgeous.
Yeah, he's kind of cute, huh?
Yeah,
I didn't do
he
so
is.
bad.
What does he do for a living?
He's a key grip, actually.
He scored on the show?
Yes.
You know
All right.
Do you know how hard it is for a key grip to pull an actor from the show? That is...
Oh,
Oh, my
my God.
God.
He's going to be so thrilled with that, let me tell you.
He's a legend.
Yeah, pretty much. Although I like that, though. I like the manly guys that know how to work with their hands and have tools, and not so much the creative types, but, you know.
No, I like men with good hands, too.
Yeah.
Okay, now let me ask you now, do you know what the sex of the baby?
Yes, it's a boy. And they keep telling me it's kind of making me nervous, but they say he's 2 weeks bigger at this point than he's supposed to be. Which I'm like, wow, so when is this thing gonna start,
moving,
slowing down and maybe not growing so much? And they're like, oh, it's okay, you'll just have a really big baby. I'm like, hi, not a tall person, where's it gonna go? And
not too wide either.
It keeps going out.
Now, we were talking about that before you came out. Are you prepared for what's going to happen? You know, Lamaze doesn't prepare you for what goes on in the delivery room.
I haven't started yet. Although I have many girlfriends that just say, it doesn't work.
But once you get in battle, that stuff breathe. I was in there with my wife, and Sharon, you can say it is one of the
when they start saying take deep breaths and breathe in through your mouth, out through your nose, or the other way around, it's like, excuse me. There's no way.
Drugs.
No way.
Drugs.
It's like, hey, I'm screaming and cursing, and don't tell me about this deep breathing.
Yeah, it's like some form of hyperventilating that I think just makes you a little dizzy and supposedly doesn't make
you dizzy.
Not feel the pain. I don't know about
No, there's going to be pain. That's why you need a little drug. You need some drugs. You need to be very happy.
Now, what about, Ozzy says too, he says you wouldn't go to the dentist and have a tooth pulled without
drugs,
This
would
is
you?
true.
Absolutely. If they have to induce labor because they give you a drug that induces cramps.
Oh, because
And
you
that-
want that.
You want the water to break. It makes the water break. I was
Tell
telling
your
Sharon
story.
that I
Come
was
on.
sitting down with brown suede shoes, and my wife was pregnant. She couldn't get the water to break, so they hooked her up to the Pitocin. And she walks by and she sneezes, and the water breaks all over my shoe.
And that's just some mystery
It
fluid
was so
that you don't
oh,
want anywhere
my-
near
no,
you.
it is mystery fluid. You have no idea where it comes from.
What did you do with the shoes?
I went home barefoot and I walked to the I never wore them again. I was walking, oh!
Oh,
There's
yeah.
probably a homeless guy downtown, Los Angeles going, hey, these are kind of nice. Once you buff them out.
But they were very warm, I bet.
But it is the most exciting. After it, it's the most exciting when you see the baby and the emotion,
It's
the
the best
raw
thing in the
emotion
world.
is the best in the world.
I want to know, Holly, how through the whole time that we've been seeing you on Charmed, you don't look pregnant.
Well, we're trying to hide it.
Why?
We weren't terribly successful because we just started showing my pregnancy when I was 7 months, so just a couple of weeks ago. But for 7 months, we tried to hide it. In the beginning, it wasn't so bad, and I could carry stuff, or I could just wear loose-fitting clothes. And then it got to the point where we have Alyssa and Rose, and then my head behind them.
We've actually got a clip that shows how you were hiding it quite well, actually.
Yeah, this one is good.
Are we going to see you on the show?
Yes.
Peggy? We are. Okay.
Yeah, we're asking the audience to believe a lot, I know, but, it says 4 months later, and here I am 7 months pregnant. So I get it. If I get the letters from you all going, you don't look 4 months pregnant, I don't care what you say, this is not 4 months pregnant. I get it. I know. I'm 7 months pregnant.
Pretend. It's
7
only
months
pretend.
pregnant. I'm just huge as a house, and we're asking you to believe it's
That's
4
right.
months later.
So believe it. No
Yes.
letters. All right,
No
you
letters.
can catch Holly on Charmed Sunday nights at 8 on the WB. You look fantastic.
Agua.
What was that like with Johnny Carson? Nothing, I imagine, can compare to the primordial nature of television back in the 1970s and early 80s when that was it. If you were on Johnny Carson, something like 80 to 90% of America was watching you in that very moment. That must have been a hell of a trip, dude.
I mean, I was in Las Vegas and Johnny Carson was going to retire. And in the summer of 91, the USA Today in the Life section had a comedian named Ron Schock, and he was going to be one of the last 6 comedians to be on the Tonight Show before Johnny leaves in 11 months. So I started to think, man, that's like Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory. There's 5 tickets out there, and who's going to be the 5? And I'm thinking, well, it's not going to be me. You know what, man? It was me. I got one of the 6 spots.
God damn.
Man.
I'm Rick Sanchez, and this is the Rick Sanchez podcast. And boy, we've got a real treat for you. We talk a lot about something on this show that makes us very unique as Latinos. And you know what it is? Man, we are so friggin' resilient. There's something about the spirit of being a Latino in the United States. I mean, everybody knows we work 42 hours a week. The average non-Latino works 33 hours a week. We hire more people. We start more jobs. But the one thing we do, I think, the one thing we do as Latinos in America that makes us different is we just don't give a crap, man. You knock us down, we're going to get back up. You knock us down, you fire me, I'll get another job. I don't care. It's fine. We're like the frickin' Energizer Bunny, right? That's kind of who we are. It's who I am. I mean, how many times have I failed? I've told you all everything I've learned in my life is because I've gotten knocked down, right? And we start that way. And there's one guy, right? When you think of Latinos in America, there's one guy in particular who always comes to mind. And this is a guy who never had it easy, right? And part of the reason he never stops, he's always going, he's always winning, is because life's never been easy for this guy, right? It didn't start easy, and from time to time it hasn't been easy, but he's always, está ahí, está aquí, as we say, está arriba. And I'm proud to know him. And I'm proud to say that, representa, right? He represents. George Lopez is good enough to join us now. How about that, huh?
That's quite an introduction.
How come nobody claps for me?
Yeah. I never thought it was going to be me, which I think is maybe one of the essential tools you need to be successful is you can't think it's going to be you because the odds are so stacked against you that thinking it would be you would be seeing a result before you've created a result. So I never thought it was me. And then I was going to go and see if it could be me. But my grandfather was not my biological grandfather. But he told me that I was lazy, that I was going to grow up to be lazy. And I think that could have been negative reinforcement or negative, but that doesn't work with kids these days. And it worked with me back then only because life was so simple. He was one of the few adults I ever saw in my life. So I had to listen to what he was saying. He was saying right in front of me. And I would just say, we'll see. We'll see.
My mother worked in a factory, and your grandmother who raised you worked in a factory. And it's funny because those of us who even know that word, it means so much to us. When you're poor when your parents worked in a factory. I don't know a non-Latino or a white kid who has ever said to me when I've said to them, oh, what did your parents do? They've said, oh, my mom worked in a factory. Even just the word factory has a very special meaning to guys like you and me, doesn't it?
I've never heard anybody say it like that, but yes, and everybody was looking for out here in Van Nuys, California, the General Motors job, the Lockheed job, Northrop, Aerospace, JPL, and they all had, there was nepotistic, they got in.
Yeah.
But I never wanted to do that in my heart or soul. Like, I didn't know what was going to happen. I just knew that I didn't want to do that, put an ashtray in a Camaro for 40 years.
And by the way, let me say something. That's a job at the plant. You would say, oh, my mom or my grandmom or my dad, he worked at the Ford plant. My dad worked for Chevrolet. My dad worked for Ford. When you say my mom worked at a factory, you know what that means? That means they worked in a place where you don't even know what the hell the product was. They were, in my case, my mom sewed shoes from some company that nobody ever heard of called Suave or C1A. But it's not like a job at the plant. It's not like it came with great benefits, So it's a job, man. It's just a job, right?
It's when you're saying that, whenever I used to go to town with my grandmother or grandfather, and I saw some kids that I may have known from school, I would duck down so they wouldn't see me with them. But in reality, I should have stood up. I just realized that I used to duck down not to be seen with them. They didn't know them. I knew them, and I didn't want to be seen with them. But they weren't bad people. They were deficient in what areas all people of that age, of that time, would have been deficient in. Caring about other people. Yeah. They didn't have any sympathy for anybody. Everything was like, you're all right, get up, come on, we gotta go. And there was nothing that ever you could was any urgency to make sure, are you okay? Are you all right? If somebody were to do that, they would say, yeah, he's all right, thank you. He doesn't need anything.
George, you grew up with your grandmother, really, your mom's mother, maternal grandmother,
yeah,
and your grandfather somewhat, although you describe him as not a really nice guy, kind of mean, right? What happened to your parents?
My mother, in San Fernando, California, my mother was always somebody who, first of all, she wasn't entirely mentally well, and she would just kind of go out and come back with a guy, and come back with a TV, come back with a new refrigerator. I mean, I don't know how she did it. I mean, she didn't write, and I tried to teach her to read when I was in fourth grade, and I couldn't do it. You can't teach an adult to read in fourth grade. And one of the things that was very painful to me to see was that they would have an open house, and she would come to the open house, and you'd have to sign in. And I would be like, no, she's okay. And then she would make an X. That's when an X was an approved signature. She would make an X.
Wow.
That just lays on you, man. Like, oh my God. I wasn't a straight A student, so there wasn't any clamoring to see what my work was going to reveal about me, and that was just so internally destructive to me that those may have been the seeds that were planted to find those nuances that made us who we were, but also that you could share with other people. So they knew that if they saw the same thing, like you said, we're resilient.
Yeah. When I went to NBC to work after I was working in local, and I knew that I grew up like you, and my parents don't speak a lick of English. My dad only has a 4th grade education. He barely knows how to read and write, except for what he taught himself. And suddenly I found myself there. I don't know if this happened with you. When you're Latino and you grow up really poor and you look around your surroundings and you don't think you mix in with the big other kids. I go to NBC, my first gig up there, and I'm surrounded by all these people. They're all Ivy League school guys. Their parents are kind of famous. They've got lawyers. They got PR people. And a lot of them, you're interviewing today the Secretary of State. He's coming in from the White House, and you're sitting next to Tom Brokaw. You're sitting next to all these famous people I've seen on TV, and I'm feeling. We have this word in Spanish. It's coaccionado, right? It means like I'm kind of embarrassed. Do I belong here? What am I going to do when I'm going to have to fight through this crap? And then somehow along the way, I don't know how, George. I don't know how, but I think I finally figured out that because I didn't have all those things, I had always had to work a little harder, and I came at it a little differently, and I had 2 cultures, and in the end, I had stuff those guys didn't have. But in the process, man, it's hard to figure that crap out, or at least it was for me. I don't know what it was like for you.
Well, I mean, one of the things that drew me to you and your style was that como no tienes pelos en la lengua, you don't hold anything back in a space where everything is held back. You had very honest opinions, and you stuck by your opinions, which is something that not a lot of people do. They speak on their opinions one day, then the next day, hey, listen, I'm sorry I said that. I don't know what I was thinking. You have to. The times that I've been doing stand-up, and I was always afraid of what people might think, or if anybody would get upset. And I think I was that way because those thoughts weren't mine. But now that they're mine, I don't apologize because comedy's indefensible. There's some things in comedy that you don't do, just like a police would never relinquish his gun. It's just like there's things that you're not supposed to do. And in comedy, you're not supposed to apologize for comedy.
It says in your biography that you were inspired by Freddie Prinze. Those of us old enough to remember know that Freddie Prinze was kind of in many ways, one of the most talented human beings we've ever seen performing, and also one of the most tortured people we knew. What was it? What was it that inspired you about Freddie Prinze?
Well, I believe that in the summer of 73, 74, when the TV guy would come out with a fall schedule, and that show was in a Chico and the Man. And then during the summer of 73, and they started to run promos of Chico and the Man. I think he was Hungarian, Puerto Rican, playing a Chicano. I wasn't into that whole thing about, hey, only a Chicano could play a Chicano. But his magnetism, his personality, I didn't know underneath that the way that a manager that we both shared said that he had a man's body, but a child's mind. He was very 6'2" and looked very confident on the outside, but was a lost boy inside and on drugs from back in New York. So, you come out here and you're a sensation and you don't know what's happening. And it's all happening so fast that, everything he did was not the correct thing for him to do. And then back then, I don't even think they had the Betty Ford Center. They would fire you. If you used drugs, they would fire you, and then you would just disappear. But he wasn't around that long, but he made quite an impression on me because that was the first time that I ever really saw somebody that I would consider love at first sight.
You mean because you identified with his character, because you identified with his background, or because you just...
identified with the look, identified with the idea that he was a stand-up doing a television show, which I never equated, and then, years later when in 2001 or 2 when I first started to do interviews, and they would say, well, who are your comedy idols? And I would say Freddie Prinze. And it was a new conversation because he'd been away for so long. And when I was 17, I stole his headstone from Forest Lawn, as if taking it was going to give me.
Did you really? You really stole his headstone?
Yeah. Yeah, it was already loose, but yeah.
What the hell did you do with it?
I kept it between my mattresses for years so that I don't even know what I thought was going to penetrate through the mattresses, but which I'm not proud of. But it just goes to, I mean, it's proof. It's a footprint to the time that I would say I was obsessed. But when they came to me about the Hollywood Star and me, the 100th episode, I told them that I wasn't going to go in until Freddie Prinze went in, and nobody ever petitioned Freddie Prinze to be in. And then Johnny Grant at that time, rest his soul, said, well, we'll look and see. And then he was not in. And then I paid for him to be in. And his family, I knew his Kathy Prinze, the wife, and Freddie Jr. And so what I did later brought them all together on Hollywood Boulevard, friends from New York. And it was quite a celebration for Freddie and Freddie Jr. Very emotional.
What was it like the first time you did stand-up?
In '79, wow. We asked a wino to buy us some wine at like a Bristol Farms on Westwood Boulevard, and we pushed it. It was a cork. We pushed the cork down with a pen, and me and my buddy Ernie were drinking. He didn't even go on stage. I don't know what he was drinking.
This isn't going to end well, but keep going.
And it was going to null the pain, but it was all, Rick, it was all frightening, man. I mean, I was scared of everything already, and that would have had to have been the most terrifying thing that I was ever going to do.
Yeah.
And when you look back, it's like, what would make you go back? And I don't have the answer to that.
But you obviously figured it out. I mean, you've become, to this day, one of the most sought after comics in the United States in both the little screen, the big screen, the live screen, everything, man. I mean,
I had a baseball coach that told me that when things got tough, I quit. And that, quitters in life don't go anywhere, don't do anything. He goes, come back in 10 years and let me know how you're doing. I bet you I can tell you right now, you're not doing a damn thing. And
he said that.
We were with my baseball coach in high school. We were nose to nose, and we were going at it. And I turned around and my friends were just like, wow. And I started to play golf maybe a year or two out of high school, and it was very difficult to learn.
Yeah.
And when it got difficult to learn, I would quit, pick up the ball and tell those guys, hey, I'm only going to play 9 holes. I'm going to take off. I forgot I had something to do. But I was lying to them and I was lying to myself. And then on the way home one day, it's almost like his head appeared behind me. And he said, when things get tough, you pack it in. And I pulled over to the side of the road. And I kind of evaluated my life at that point, which wasn't a lot to do. And then I figured out he was right. And I went to the school. I hadn't been there maybe in 4 or 5 years. And I went to the school and I was walking across this field and he was kind of looking like, who is that? And he says, is that my third baseman? I said, hey, coach, how you doing? What brings you here? And I told him that I had to come and apologize to him because if I didn't, I don't think I could have lived my life peacefully without taking the responsibility of making his life harder. And then what he said to me was right. And it's the first time in my life I ever apologized to somebody. I would just disappear and not talk to the person anymore.
Fascinating. Are you still scared when you perform?
No, not at all. I may get tired, but I'm not scared. And I've been transcribing my shows like a dictation for the last 20 years. So I have all these shows that I've done, and there's stacks of them, and the DVDs are put away. And it's a great tool to look back, almost like if a paralegal was going to go and look up some case, I could go back and look up what I did in 2005, and then keep track of everything new and move everything old out. And I think I'm not afraid. I'm always very well prepared, which I'm opposite of what I used to be, not prepared. And I look back on those things either on the plane or during the day of shows, and it keeps me kind of in that cut right there.
Everybody says that you were discovered by Sandra Lopez and her, Sandra Bullock and her production team. I mean, that's, that's the palaver. el cuento, as we say out there. How much of that is true, or how much of that is nuanced?
Let's see. That's a good question. I didn't know her from anybody.
Yeah.
And Dave Chappelle had been at this club in Austin, and Sandra lived in Austin. And the manager comes after the first show and he goes, "Hey, man, guess who's coming? Sandra Bullock." And I was a little sloppy. I was drinking. I wasn't very professional. The material I wasn't, fond of. Just kind of going through a dead end thing in the late 90s. And then I actually got on my knees and I prayed for her not to show up. Please. I didn't know her. I didn't know what she was going to think of me, but I prayed that she would not come to the show. And before the start of the second show, the guy peeks his head and, "Hey, she called, she's not coming." And I was embarrassed of what I was doing, but also less than 2 years later, she saw me out here, and I was so impressive because I kind of was changing the way I approached comedy at that time because I was just on a dead end place. I'm like, I gotta get out of this, and I was more prepared. And she came to see me, sat in the middle, and when she came backstage, she said, "Your life is like a train wreck that you can't turn away from, and let's come to my office and let's talk." And let's see what else we could find in there that's a train wreck. I said, "Yeah, all right." Train wreck.
But wait a minute. Your show that she, I guess, had a hand in at least highlighting or having it come to fruition, you played a dad, a regular guy, a very likable, normal. Other than the fact that you were funny and you were like every other dad, like I am, like my dad was with me, which made you very relatable. There was no train wreck there. So how did you go from that perceived train wreck guy to the really cool Latino dad on TV, probably the most famous Latino dad ever, with the possible exception of maybe Desi Arnaz?
Yeah, I went through and here's another thing that people where I come from. I was hitting golf balls over here. My manager calls me. He's like, "Are you on your way?" I'm like, "Man, I'm not going." "What do you mean you're not going?"
What?
"What's she gonna do for me?" He goes, "Hey, they called. At 1 o'clock, they'll be waiting for you. Why would you not go?" I said, "What is she gonna do? What is she gonna do for me?
Wow.
What has anybody ever done for me?"
Oh my God.
He's like, "You better go. You better go." And again, I would just say, "I'm not going." And I went. We spent 3 hours talking, laughing, and we just kind of attached it to the fact that I used to work with my grandmother in a factory. And then I was married and I had one kid, and then we created the boy and a girl. And then the mom character was my grandmother, and my best friend Ernie was really my best friend Ernie. And Angie was Anne, and Carmen was Chicha's daughter named Carmen, and Max was my grandmother's poodle, Max. And we just attached it to the things that were family oriented and workplace oriented. And then from there, we started to unravel the relationship between myself and my mother and myself and my wife. And I describe the show this way. Trying to prove to his mom he's not a boy, and trying to prove to his wife he's a man. And it worked.
Yeah. I can't believe what you just said, though, that you had this opportunity to sit with them, that they were courting you, and there was something inside you that said, "No, I don't want to go." Were you really saying, "I don't deserve this"? Is that what you were saying?
I think I was afraid of anything.
Yeah.
I think I was afraid of, I didn't have any adult male figures or anybody in my biological family that would have given me any information or advice that would have helped me growing up. And it was very, very primitive, man. I think Jodie Foster did a movie with Nell. I think she was raised by wolves. And I don't know, Rick, man, I can't tell you what it is, but I think the main thing is that if you quit, you're out. And if you don't quit, you're in. And no matter how far in you are, it's like all of the things that you were told, and then has to be, like I used to go down Barham and pay the rent late, and I would drive by Warner Brothers, and I would think to myself, what do you have to do to get in there? And that's why I did my show. So in a sense of manifesting manifest destiny, manifesting destiny is always good because you never know. I mean, I manifested destiny without even being aware of what manifest destiny was. I just had these things in my head, and if I put it out there, I'd get it done. And I didn't realize that till a friend told me that maybe 15 years ago.
One of the cool things about you is that you've been very, very consistent throughout your career. I think, obviously you've had jobs, lost jobs, got just like every other human being in this planet, but you've been very, very consistent. Is that something about your habitual sense? Is it something about your sense of organization? How have you maintained that level where most people in our profession, even more in your profession, because you're more on the entertainment side and I'm more on the news side, have a tough time with that? Somewhere along the line, they just get dogged somehow.
I was never really connected to anything human. I was more connected to things that were inanimate. Guitars, golf clubs, but humans, no. I never saw a healthy relationship growing up. And then I started doing stand-up at 18 and started traveling at 23, 24. I'm 61. Been traveling. It's an isolate. I picked the things you can do by yourself. You can play guitar by yourself. You can golf by yourself. And stand-up, you're the only one on stage. So in all of these years that have passed and in a vacuum, I would say the thing that has benefited me the most was the fact that I didn't connect to anything or anybody. So I didn't have I didn't let leaving your family to go on the road affect me. When I was standing behind the curtain in 91, when I did the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and then 31 years later, a month ago in New York with Jimmy Fallon, while they were coming back from commercial, I said, man, I stood behind this curtain 31 years ago. Did I believe 31 years ago that I was going to be standing back here 31 years later? I would have said no. I would have said no.
What was that like with Johnny Carson? Because even today, going on Fallon and going on some of these other shows is big, but nothing, I imagine, can compare to the primordial nature of television back in the 1970s and early 80s when that was it. If you were on Johnny Carson, something like 80 to 90% of America was watching you in that very moment. That must have been a hell of a trip, dude.
I mean, I was in Las Vegas and Johnny Carson was going to retire. And in the summer of 91, the USA Today in the Life section had a comedian named Ron Schock, and he was going to be one of the last 6 comedians to be on the Tonight Show before Johnny leaves in 11 months. So I started to think, man, that's like Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory. There's 5 tickets out there, and who's going to be the 5? I was in a hotel in Vegas at the Maxim in a Playboy Girls of Rock and Roll review show. And I'm thinking, well, it's not going to be me. I'm over here in the Playboy Girls of Rock and Roll. I'm so far from being ready. And you know what, man? It was me. I got one of the 6 spots.
God damn.
Man. I can't believe it. I mean, I still, even saying it to you, I still don't believe it.
Johnny frickin' Carson, man. That's like the Super Bowl.
And, and about 2 months ago, a jeweler came to my wardrobe person and said, hey, I got this kind of strange request. Jonas, this guy, this jeweler to the stars, got a presidential Rolex, and the Rolex used to be owned by Johnny Carson. I'm like, what? I remember Johnny Carson having a Rolex, and it's shining on the Tonight Show, and like, well, how did he get it? Oh, his widow gave it to a guy she was dating. They didn't end up getting married, and he still held it, and he hadn't worn it in 10 years, and he was going to sell it, and it had all the documentation, and he wanted to know. The jeweler said, I think I know the perfect couple guys for this. Went to me first, and then he said, if you don't like it, don't feel any pressure to buy it. And then Dick Wolf was the guy who wanted to buy it. Dick Wolf wanted to look at it. And I, when the minute I held that watch in my hand, it just kind of like this thrust of like light went through me, like just through me in holding it. And outside of my building at NBC, where my dressing room is, the Johnny Carson building, and NBC's right there. And I bought it.
Oh, wow.
And he was wearing it the night that I did the Tonight Show in 91 when he came down the hall and he and I shook hands.
What was that like, by the way, doing the show? Did you pinch yourself a little bit?
I got seen by the talent scout at the Improv, and he said, "Oh, I like you." Very dismissive. I like you. Why don't you put some stuff together and give me a call in a week, 10 days, and see where you are. So then I worked on it all day for 7 days. I call him up. I go to Burbank to his office where you can see Der Wiener Schnitzel from outside of the NBC office, and he was at his desk in his chair, and I was in front of him, and he said, "Okay, let's see what you got." No audience, nothing. I told jokes to one guy, and he just went a couple times, and he said, "All right, move this here, move that there, and move that there, and give me a call in a week and 10 days." So I had been working on it, but then I was at the Improv, and I was just going to work it out. And he walked in, and he saw me, and he said, "Hey, are you going to do the stuff for the show? I'll look at you right now." And I wasn't planning on seeing him, but I was going to do stuff for the show. And I did it. And when I walked out, he shook my hand and said, "Congratulations, you got the Tonight Show."
Wow. What a story. You mentioned a little while ago that one of the reasons you've been very successful and very driven is because you've never really, I don't know what word or what verb to use here, but maybe you've never given yourself the luxury or allowed yourself to tie yourself to any one person or any one human being. And, in life we have children. I have children. You have children, wives, loved ones. I too have always felt like I was just driven to get to the next thing, and nothing would get in the way of that, which is why I guess I ended up interviewing 4 or 5 presidents and working at NBC and working at CNN and working at Fox and doing all that shit. And part of it was because that actually became more important than anything. Not that I don't love my wife and I don't love my kids, because I really do, but I almost relate a little bit to that sense of drivenness that you just described. Can you put it into your words for us?
Well, I would say, man, I think I've said, and I don't want it to seem, I wanted to be somebody in a place where everybody was nobody. Not that they weren't not that they weren't important, but they just got up every day and went to the same place, and I didn't want that. And I didn't settle, or did I not want to settle like these guys have settled, and I just thought that I was different, not better, but I just felt inside that I was different.
Yeah, I know. And I guess what you're trying to say is you don't want to come across as callous, because I don't think you are. And I know the people who love you and you love them back. But
everybody there made their life decisions so early, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to make a decision that I would be working in this place for 30 years when I was 19. And stand up, I didn't know if I was going to be any good at it, but I just felt like that was like young Chicanos use boxing or Latinos use boxing. I just thought, I didn't even know how far I was going to get. I just felt like I couldn't live the life of a 9-to-5 guy. I already done that. I didn't like it.
You just said Chicano instead of Latino, and I totally relate to that, because I think there's something in the spirit of, Los Angelinos, somebody who is from Los Angeles and is Latino, who has, it doesn't mean that you can't identify with a Cuban or a Cuban from Miami or a Puerto Rican from New York or a Hondureño from, Chicago. But there's something in the spirit of being a Mexican-American from LA, which is a little different. And there's nothing wrong with that, no different than being a redneck dude from Tuscaloosa. It's just, there's a part of the regionality of who you are. Can you
I think people that come from New York sound like they're from New York.
Yeah.
And people that come from LA look like they come from LA. And, the whole Chicano, in the 70s, we were Chicanos in the 70s, and they had brown berets, and they had all these brothers, and they had these car clubs. And then in the late 70s and 80s, then the paisas from Mexico and El Salvador and Guatemala was coming coming to Los Angeles, and they were the ones that would, be dressed from the waist down, no shirt, but boots and slacks, and
Tight.
they'd be working on their car with a lamp outside, and they'd got to be holding the lamp. And somebody said, how would you describe a Chicano versus a non-Chicano? And I would say, when you play basketball and they have the shirts and the skins are from Mexico and the shirts are from the United States, because I'm never taking my shirt off to work on a car outside. They had no qualms.
Me neither. The same with these guys. Have you ever been with a bunch of guys? I remember when we were growing up, we'd play baseball or we'd play basketball, mostly basketball, and you'd play shirts versus skins. And like, no, I'm not taking off my shirt to play basketball with you. I mean, I'm just not. It's just not my gig. I mean, I don't do that. So,
I started to let the shower steam up, so when I got out, I wouldn't have to look at myself.
It's like
it's just like a blur going by,
Did you ever, in your wildest dreams, imagine that the George Lopez show would be the sensation that it became?
No, I would say no. And there was a big decision that had to be made because, it was after 9/11. We premiered in 2002. After 9/11, all the comedies at every network went down. Like, they didn't have a chance. Everybody was watching news and were watching Datelines and all the 2020s and Nightlines. And those went away. And then we had sold the pilot in like November, December. No, in May. So we were writing the pilot August, September, October, November, started to read actors in December. And then in the middle of January, or late January of 2002, there had to be a decision made. We're all Warner Brothers. Sandra was there, Bruce Helford, and all the presidents and people in casting at Warner Brothers. And they said, well, what do you want to do? You want to wait till September, or do you want to try to go into the mid-season, And nobody had an answer. And then Sandra said, well, let's ask George. What do you think? And I said, wow. And I was always a person like, let's go now and find out. Better to find out. I think my grandmother would say that. Better to find out now than to find out later.
Yeah, right.
So I decided to go at the mid-season, and I think it was maybe the toughest decision that I had to make in my life at that time. And then also, I think it was the right decision to make. And we had to retain 85% of the lead-in, and we retained 93.
Wow. Pretty close.
Pretty close. That was kind of a small window, not to lose 15% of your lead in. That's very tough.
But the show, how long was the show on the air? I know
the
it's
show,
still
we
on
did
the
120 episodes. So we started in the end of March in 2002, and then we ended in May in 2007.
And you still get something from that?
Oh yeah,
nice. Huh?
Yeah, I'm a creator, so I have points in the show. So they've been buying it every 4 years. I mean, it hasn't been off the air in 20 years, but it's been in syndication since 2007, and I think in 4-year blocks, and they just have kept buying it over and over again.
Why? What was it about the show, or maybe about you, that made America fall in love with that show when it was some, weird Latino dude from frickin' LA, which is nothing like Leave It to Beaver or, any of those other shows that we grew up with?
I think, what would you say it was?
Was that Momo?
Yeah, I think the structure of the family was familiar, and then we were coming off of shows like Full House and Growing Pains and Silver Spoons, and those were all very safe. And then I would say that they end like that, and I would say, well, we don't want to do that. We want to be a little bit. Thank God Roseanne had been kind of led the way. Mm-hmm. Everybody Loves Raymond, so we wanted to be a dysfunctional, but not actually. And not wear our color on our sleeve. Like that show was right down the road and very diverse. Like, these guys, I would say they would say, we're gonna have a bad babysitter in an episode, and we're gonna cast Latinas. I said, no. We're gonna cast everybody for different parts, and we're not gonna make a babysitter bad, or we're not gonna make a couple that need marriage counseling Latinos. They were Asian, and the other girl was a white girl babysitter. Like I just decided to tell those guys to make it everybody else, and we were the family in the house, and we did some really great things. But also, those characters were great, but also the writing was very good and above average writers. And I think at the end of the day, I think the writing and the genuine love that looked like was there between us was still very close, after 20 years, that those things were a perfect match.
But you never looked like you were acting. You looked like you were just being George Lopez. Being George Lopez. There's a show. How did you pull that off, given that, because to look like you're not acting, you have to be acting. And to be able to pull that off, you're supposed to go to some school in New York where very wealthy people go to learn how to do that. Juilliard or some crap like that. I don't imagine that you went to Juilliard.
No.
Boy, what a surprise. I'm right.
I didn't go to the high school of performing arts in New York, LaGuardia High School. You know what I did realize? I realized I wasn't, there's some guys that you can talk to them forever. They're going to tell you that they're the greatest and they don't need this and they don't need that because they know it already.
Yeah.
I wasn't like that. I read with an actor in the middle of December, right before Christmas break, and he was an actor and I wasn't an actor. It was the guy Valente who got the part of my best friend. And I was so bad. And I remember, like a kid at a Little League game, you miss the ball, you look at your parents, and I looked at Bruce and Robert, and the look on their faces were like, no, it's all right. You don't have to read. But I knew that they saw in me, because I saw in their faces, they're like, can this fucking dude even act? What? We're right down the road. Has anybody ever asked you if you can act? No, sir. And after that day, I got back to my house. I called my manager and I said, hey, man, you got to find me an acting coach today.
Wow.
And I had this woman, Warner Laughlin, who I had her for 102 shows. I hired her, and then the show paid her, but she was with me all those years, and she's the person that got me to be able to look like I wasn't acting.
Yeah. Boy, I'll tell you, that's such an important lesson. We talk about that a lot. The idea that if you have to stand back sometimes in your life and look at your life like a mural that you're painting, and you can see in one corner, oh my God, it's missing some blue over there, or there's not enough paint on this side. Like if same as a garden, you bought 13 plants, but there's 17 feet. You're missing 4 feet of plants. And life is like that. Every once in a while, we got to stand back and go, oh shit, I forgot the acting lessons. I better go buy some. Or
I mean, there was no way that if I hadn't seen it or even known to have felt it, that show wasn't going to survive.
God,
with me not taking acting lessons or having my coach with me every day.
That's how close that show came to being a disaster instead of the incredible hit it was. So you're about to unveil or are unveiling now something really cool and new. It's everywhere. I don't know. I can't turn on the TV or see. Tell me about it.
It's been on since November 4th, called Lopez versus Lopez, with my daughter, Mayan Lopez.
Great.
Who like me, when she was 12, she wanted to be on Saturday Night Live and she wanted to go to Second City, which she did. And Mayan's great. I mean, Mayan, has learned something that's not easy to learn in a short amount of time. And she's great on the show. And then all of a sudden there's a renewed interest in me because of her. Opportunities that are presenting themselves where they go to her and not necessarily me. And I like that. The idea, did I ever think that I would be doing a show with Mayan? Never. Could I have written it myself? No. And it came from a TikTok where a guy had made a TikTok about, me getting a kidney for my wife and then getting divorced. And, and Mayan took obsession to that, talking about her mom, and she twerked upside down and had a bag of money in her hand and all this shit that doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything to me. And really kind of just putting everything out there. And I was like, and it was much more than I would have put out there, but I can't tell Mayan what to put out there. So Debbie Wolf saw the TikTok, started following Mayan, started to see these things, daddy issues and things like that. And she had her own issues with her own father. And she was working on the Connors, where Bruce Helford runs the Connors. He did my show, and she said to him, I got an idea for George and Mayan. You think they'd be interested in this? He goes, well, the only way to find out is to pitch it to them. So when they pitched it to me, where you're owning up to your responsibility for the first time and you didn't talk for years, and then you're very hard on each other. And when we hung up, I said, I forgot to ask if it was animation, because I thought only if you're painted yellow could you talk to somebody else like this. This isn't a show where I don't think humans would say this to each other. I mean, they're much more comfortable on Family Guy and American Dad and South Park that was going to be the dialogue. But no, it was us. And it's funny because the same things are still there. We did the pilot, then you're waiting to see if the pilot got picked up, and then we've done the 13 episodes, and then tomorrow, December 2nd, we'll know whether we're going to continue. But everybody feels like they're going to continue, and there's things for me to do at NBC. But I told Fred Silverman in the elevator in the early 2000s that my dream job was to have a sitcom at NBC, and he said, maybe one day you will, George.
Wow. Yours is a great story, Vato.
Chico and the Man.
It really is.
Sanford, I'm in the Sanford and Son time spot.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, Rick, it doesn't. I mean, I manifested things that could have only been manifested and not ever been, I thought, would have ever happened in the real world.
Wow. Sometimes you pinch yourself and wonder if there isn't some other force out there in the universe that's making all these things happen, right?
I don't have the same problems I had growing up. I have a Range Rover with very high performance tires, and I was driving to a house that I have, and there was a spike in it, and I could have blown out. I mean, I spent 2 hours on the freeway. I could have blown out. So I bought a BMW X7 because I needed a car that had more durable tires. I mean, it's nothing like it's nothing like the way I was growing up.
Yeah, I think back to all the times I could have bit it. Plenty.
It got my attention because I was driving pretty fast, and those tires are nothing. And
when did that happen? When did that happen?
This last over Thanksgiving, and I really felt like I dodged a bullet there. I wasn't about to let it happen again, so I got another car that I could drive.
Wow.
More consistent.
Well, a message, a signal, somebody telling you, be careful, don't take shit for granted.
There was a white bat. There was a white bat flying in the house over there. Never seen a light color bat. Flew into the 2 rooms that I was in, and they were not close to each other. And the mensaje from the bat is to believe what I feel and to believe what I think I see, because it's true.
Trust. Yeah, exactly. Bueno,
and again, it wasn't a human being that told me it was a fucking white bat.
I didn't even know white bats existed, man. It's like,
I didn't know either. I could see a little skeletal frame. I was like, what? But he flew in a motion. He didn't flew like any of the dark bats. He flew beautiful, just almost touching his wings and flew across in circles in those 2 rooms. And I'm like, I don't know what this is, but whatever he's got to say, I'm listening to.
I'm going to be looking for white bats from now on. George Lopez, we stand on your shoulders, my friend, for all that you have done. You are, I know, like me, you don't wear your Latino-ness on your shoulders or anything, pero at the same time, there are a lot of people who will find pride in your story and will be inspired by what you've done. And man, where that all came from. The stories you tell about when you were growing up with your grandmother and things that weren't so good in your life. And somehow you've been able to manifest all that into one heck of a great story. I mean, it's just really fun, man. It's fun knowing you. It's fun talking to you.
I appreciate you. Yeah, I have a great, I always respond really well to you, man. So thank you.
Gracias,
I have a lot of respect for you. I have a lot of respect for you as well.
Thank you, George. You're a good man. We appreciate it. Thanks again. George Lopez, the one and only. How about it, huh? How about it? Well, this is the Rick Sanchez podcast. We're a part of Agua Media. Of course, we're all over the place. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Apple or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you happen to be watching this on the old YouTube-y thing, make sure you subscribe. Dale. Vamos con todo. Y hasta la próxima.
Agua.
Xin chào các bạn, mình tô một cái chanh này nha.
số vậy hả? Viết số coi đẹp không? Viết O là kỹ là không?
Chép bài đẹp quá à.
Cái điện. Hả?
Trên. Dạ. Có sáng giờ tao bắt cái máy sáng giờ nói vậy. Rồi sao không được? Tao bắt từ sáng tới giờ rồi.
Cái gì ít trò? Ít cho em viết hả? Mồi. Mồi vậy nè. Vậy nè, nè. Vậy nè.
Đây là mình tô chữ nha, màu đỏ nha mọi người. Đấy mình đã hoàn thành mấy tranh nha các bạn. Bye bye.